Open up your mind, see like me. Open up your plans and damn, you're free. Look into your heart and you'll find the sky is yours. So please don't, please don't, please don't. There's no need to complicate, 'cause our time is short. This is our fate. I'm yours. Thank you.
Big shout out to Joe, everybody.
Thank you.
You guys take over for a minute. Thank you.
All right, everybody, welcome to the UCU rally at King Cross Station. Make some noise! Before we start getting our speakers out, if people around here can start moving to the front, that'd be brilliant, so we can have the best possible shots. I'm going to give you a moment or so to do that, and then we'll introduce the rally for everybody. Any UCU members here, everybody? Anyone backing the UCU members? Come on. Keep flowing around if you can, and just, yeah, thank you guys. I know it's busy. Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear us? Who is up for this rally then? No, I asked you, you up for it? Make some noise if you're on strike today. Make some noise if you're backing every single person that's on strike today. So my name's Chris, I'm the MC for the day. I'm the head of communications at the CWU. We've got 115,000 postal workers on strike today, but we're here today to mark a historic strike across every university in the UK, which is bringing those universities to its knees in a phenomenal turnout here at King's Cross, where thousands and thousands of you are coming together to say you will end casualisation, you will end poverty pay, you are sick of vice chancellors taking advantage of you, and you will change this sector, am I right? And we need you to move at some point, says the General Secretary. Can you just shuffle up? If you could move in, that'd be brilliant. So, what a year we've had as trade unions, all of us, a hell of a year, yeah. A year that started with Mick Lynch, the General Secretary of the RMT, you're going to hear from later on, see some noise from Mick. With Mick on a picket and asked what's going on the picket line, with a few people behind him and said, what do you think's going on the picket line? It started with a few people at Euston Station, but everybody now, this is what a picket line looks like in this country. Thousands and thousands of you. And make no mistake about it, for all of us, every single one of us here today, this is a defining moment. This is a where were you moment, a what did you do moment. In 20 or 30 years when you're speaking to your kids or your grandkids and they ask you, what did you do in 22 or 23, you will have to answer that question. So King's Cross, will you stand with your colleagues? Will you stand with university workers, NHS workers, teachers, postal workers, rail workers, and every single worker that goes on strike? I'm bloody glad you all said yes there, by the way. Right, first of our speakers. It's not a massive list. This rally's not going to last long because we don't believe in coming here and preaching it at you. Because what trade unionism is really about is action. It's taking action, it's building for action, and it's winning. So we're not going to keep you here too long. The rally will last probably less than an hour. Still be longer than Liz Truss lasted as Prime Minister of this country. But our first speaker, for those of you from the UCU, is one of your own. Somebody who's been up and down the country for both the further education and the higher education disputes, making your case, defending your managers, speaking at rallies, geeing people up, getting the vote out. Please make a hell of a racket for the President of the UCU, Janet Barrow.
Cheers. Cheers, Chris. Cheers, comrade. Oh my God, what an incredible turnout. Good afternoon, London. Nice to see you. This is a proper privilege. I'm absolutely delighted to be here and be sharing this platform with some incredible speakers. You are in for a treat, that is for certain. Welcome to the biggest withdrawal of Labour in higher education history. Every day that our members don't go to work, life-saving medical research doesn't happen. Books don't get written. Discoveries don't get made. And what about the unsung heroes? Let's have a shout out for our librarians, our IT staff, our student support staff. Now, anyone think that if the Vice Chancellors didn't turn up to work today, anyone would notice? Anyone think that they noticed today when you didn't turn up for work? I think you deserve that cheer. So, you know, tell you what, today is about our universities and the fact that they are coming like a ghost town. Alright, there is nobody on those campuses. We are closing these departments down. Lessons aren't happening, lectures aren't happening, everywhere is quiet apart from our picket lines, and that's exactly how it should be. 150 universities and 70,000 members with one voice. Give yourselves a round of applause. And this dispute, as with all of the industrial action that's happening at the minute, is about choices. Buildings over staff, vanity projects over students, and eye-watering Vice-Chancellor salaries over quality education. And you know what we say? No more. So before I hand over to our eminent guests, a word for the other unions on this platform and beyond this platform. Thank you for your unwavering support. We are part of something bigger. We are a movement. So give yourselves a round of applause, every single one of you. And do you know what? The message is getting through to the general public. It definitely is. We are seeing it. Every single media appearance, every leaflet, every poster, every picket, they are getting through. But what we really need to do, and this is something for you to do, to get the public on our side, we need to start having those conversations. We need to get ourselves out of our echo chambers. We need to have tricky conversations with friends, with family members, with neighbours, with people in the supermarket queue. And do not underestimate the power that those conversations will have. They need to understand that the working classes are getting screwed over while the bosses are taking all the money, and that is where they need to direct their anger, not the workers who are striking. So we need to speak to everybody that we know and people that we don't know, but you know what, we also need to listen. So get yourselves out there and let's do it. Solidarity, everyone.
Oh, make some noise for Janet. What a brilliant speech, everybody. And if you could just squeeze in from the side so people trying to get the train, etc. could do that, that'd be brilliant, leave a gap. Our next speaker, someone representing university workers who are striking today. Those in Unison, make some noise for the Unison members striking today. Also, the leader of the biggest union in the UK, someone representing our brilliant NHS workers. Make some noise if you back the NHS workers. Send a message that claps and 8 o'clock applause don't pay the bills. Claps don't put food on the table. Make some racket if you back those nurses when they go on strike. Welcome to one of the leaders of the NHS strikes, General Secretary of Unison, Christina McAnee.
Hi there, I'm really pleased to be here. What a fantastic turnout, and great to see some Unison banners and Unison hats in the crowd, because we are totally with UCU on this, because our members are suffering the way UCU members are. They're seeing their pay held down, their pay cut in some cases, they're seeing jobs disappearing, they're seeing more and more work being put on them for nothing, and no recognition, no reward from their employers, and also no recognition from this government about the essential work that university staff do. This is so important that we actually win this fight. And I'm here to bring you greetings and comradeship and sororal greetings from Unison to say we are with you the whole way. We've got members who've been taking strike in the university sector from Dundee to Brighton. And, you know, Birkbeck's here, SOAS is from sure are here, I can't see them, but I'm sure they're here. London, South Bank, loads of our people are here, I know that for a fact. And we will keep up the work and try to make sure that we get a really clear message out. And just to let you know, before the end of this year, we will be bringing out over 20,000 ambulance workers will be on strike before the end of this year. We will have hospitals out on strike before the end of this year, and that will be nurses, paramedics, it will be the cleaners, the catering staff, the call handlers, it will be everybody who delivers those key services where we've got over 50%. We know how difficult that is, but we keep fighting to get there, and that's the commitment I give today to you, to any of Unison people here. We are not giving up. We will keep taking the fight to this government until we win. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Make some noise. So, right, okay. You know, if you're on the picket lines, that we haven't got a mass of political support. You also know that we don't really need it, because what matters and what wins strikes is us sticking together. It's our power that wins strikes, isn't it? But there are some brilliant MPs out there who do a fantastic job for working class people. And the next person, the next speaker, I'm really proud to introduce him, because before he was the leader of the Labour Party, he was on our picket lines. When he was the leader of the Labour Party, he was on our picket lines. And since he hasn't been the leader of the Labour Party, he's been on our picket lines. Make some racket, the one, the only, Jeremy Corbyn!
Thank you, and thank you all, every one of you, being here today outside King's Cross Station. We're supporting all those that are taking action today. I was down on the picket line at the Sixth Form Centre just down the road. And the students joined us alongside the teaching staff. As I pointed out to the students that the strike by the teachers was for their future, their colleges and proper funding of education, as well as decent pay. And a special shout out for teachers all over the country today, because you do a good job. It's a very hard job. It's a very stressful and taxing job. We have an education system that overstresses and overtests our children from a very early age. And the tick box exercises you're forced into take away from the creativity of so much to do with teaching. So when we're here in support of teachers, lecturers and all the staff in all the colleges and the universities, it's not just about pay, it's about conditions of work, and it's about the value we put on education as a whole for every child in every school in all of our society. So I want to say a big thank you to all teachers for the work that they do and all the other staff. But we're also here with the postal workers who are part and parcel of our community. They help to bring the strength and to our communities, and been disgracefully treated by Royal Mail Chief Executive on a telephone number salary, money paid out to shareholders and in dividends and in bonus payments, and they say they can't afford to give the postal workers a decent pay rise. Yes, they can. And we will force them to do it. And you know what? It proves the failure of privatisation of our public services. Bring Royal Mail back into public ownership. And our rail workers, who are now under such attack from the Daily Mail and all the other papers for allegedly ruining our Christmas. It's our rail workers that run a comprehensive and safe railway system. They're not complaining about the good service they get from those staff, and they're not recognising the terrible wages and conditions, particularly of those that clean the trains, repair the track and clean the stations. The actions taken by the RMT, ASNEF and TSSA are for the whole of the rail industry, and we are with them and we support them. Because of the work they do and the contribution that they make. And all the other grades in different industries, nurses, health workers, ambulance workers, as Christina was just saying, all of those that are taking action, we are with them. But you know what? Despite everything they say and all the anti-union laws have been put in, we're still winning. The Liverpool Dockers won a massive victory because of what they did. And I'll just finish with this. The industrial action we're taking, yes, it's for wages, yes, it's for conditions, yes, it's for investment, but it's also for every starving child in this country. It's also for the poor in this country. It's also for those on disabilities struggling to get by, those on benefits that can't make ends meet, and those that are queuing up in increasing numbers at under-resourced food banks all over the country. Our actions are about the kind of society we want to live in. The real politics of this country, the real politics isn't the charade that's going on in Westminster of a competition on management economics. The real politics is in the unions, is on the street, is in the social movement, is in the homeless streets. And in our unity, we will win this thing. In our unity, we will change our society. And we will give young people hope for the future. They shouldn't be brought up over-indebted, overstressed and overcharged on rent. Young people ought to be able to look forward to a future with hope, not a future of poverty and division. We, and only we, can change that. Thank you.
That's livened us up. Get on, Jason. Right, everybody. We want to talk, or lead on to what Jeremy says then, because one of the endemic issues in this country is privatisation. And one of the things we're all going to have to do, as well as strike, is fight to renationalise some of our services. You see the energy bills, you see the state of the railways, you see the state of the post. Are you going to go out there with us as we campaign to bring railways back into public ownership? Are we going to take Royal Mail back into public ownership? Are we going to take our energy companies back into public ownership? Are we going to nationalise Greggs? I really want to nationalise Greggs. That's probably my top one. Universities, we're going to nationalise universities. There we go, see?
There you go. Come
and take the mic.
You do a better job.
Right, our next speaker is somebody who's also... Everyone's got members on strike today, haven't they? This is a bloody big strike, isn't it? Our next speaker has also got members on strike today in sixth form colleges up and down the UK, National Education Union. Alongside that, for the UCU members, they're also balloting every single teacher and support worker right across the country in a national ballot. And our teachers, much like university workers, postal workers, NHS workers and all key workers, we were applauded. We were told we kept this country going. And as soon as that pandemic finished, they came after us and they attacked us. So when those teachers win that ballot, because they will win that ballot, are you going to go out there? Are you going to stand on their picket lines and back them? On that basis, please give a really warm welcome to their General Secretary, Kevin Courtney.
Well, that's taken all the lines. Kevin Courtney from the National Education Union, and here to say victory to the university lecturers organised by UCU, victory to the unison strikers in higher education, and I want to say victory to the postal workers and the CWU, and victory to the railway workers in ASLEF and the RMT. But like's just been said, we're also on strike today, and I want to say victory to the sixth form colleges. 77 sixth form colleges, some of them just there. 4,000 teachers on strike alongside the 70,000 UCU members today. And I want to tell you the best ballot result my union has ever scored. 66% turnout, 89% in favour of action, 4,000 teachers on strike today. We didn't plan to be on strike the same day as you, but we are really pleased to be on strike the same day as you. Solidarity means everything to us. And like the chair has just said, we are out to ballot more than 300,000 teachers and support staff in 23,400 schools in England and in Wales. And for the first time ever, we are balloting at the same time and in concert with NASUWT and with the National Association of Head Teachers. That is unprecedented. And that takes us to nearly 500,000 education workers to add to the 70,000 UCU education workers. And it's not only those teachers in England and Wales, it's also the teachers in Scotland who are taking strike action. I think we are going to pass those undemocratic thresholds, but they're high. So I want to say to every NEU workplace rep, you have to work for every vote in that ballot. But when we pass that threshold, and we will, then we want to be on strike. Teachers and support staff in every school in England and Wales. We want to be on strike alongside university lecturers. We want to be on strike alongside nurses and midwives in the NHS. Because all of us face a common enemy, a government that intends to hold down working people's pay for as long as possible, whatever sector you work in. I want to say this as well. We aren't winning ballots. You haven't won ballots because of Joe Brady, because of a union boss. We haven't won these ballots because of left-wing activists. We've won these ballots because ordinary, moderate members of unions have had enough. It's enough. 10, 12 years, 13 years since 2010, they've held pay down year after year in the university sector, in the schools, on the railways, on the post office. That's the cause of the social crisis in this country. You know that thousands of people cannot afford to put the heating on this winter. You know that thousands of people can't afford to eat properly, that hundreds and hundreds of thousands can't make things work out in their budgets. And that's a social crisis. And it's a social crisis caused by pay being held down when profits weren't held down, when bankers' bonuses weren't held down. So now is the time when ordinary, moderate members of every union in this country are saying there needs to be a rebalancing. There needs to be a rebalancing away from profits, away from the bosses, towards ordinary working people. And I'm proud to be a left-wing activist. I'm proud to be a General Secretary calling for strikes alongside Joe Brady calling for strikes. But I'm saying to the government, you've hit the point where ordinary, moderate people are responding to left-wing activists. They're responding to General Secretaries, and you have to change in government. They have to change, those Vice-Chancellors. We're in one fight in education. We want the market out, we want pay up, we want profits removed from our system. Solidarity with UCU strikers, solidarity with sixth form college strikers, solidarity with the nurses, the midwives, the doctors, the postal workers, the rail workers, and solidarity with everyone who says enough is enough, who stopped complaining, who started fighting.
Space, make some noise for Corbyn, everybody! Okay. One of the things, desperately, that the media in this country and the bosses at universities try and do is split the staff and the students. And they try and say, when you take strike action, it's impacting negatively. But we all know that students' living conditions are your working conditions. And we know that their learning conditions are your working conditions. And what we saw last week, and what we see today, is thousands upon thousands of students on your picket lines. Hundreds of students here today. And together, we are saying, this isn't a split, this is staff and students versus the bosses. And immediately, literally, the second that you announced that momentous ballot result, smashing the Tory anti-union thresholds and making history to become the first education union in the country to win a national ballot, the first organisation to stick out a solidarity release was the National Union of Students, representing millions of students up and down the UK. Make some absolutely massive noise to one of their vice presidents, Nahal Bajwa. Please welcome Nahal.
Okay. Very serious, isn't it? I guess strikes can be a weird time for students. Like, if they're anything like I was, arriving at university at 18, like, they might not know what a strike is. Like, nobody really taught us about working class history or how we got all these rights that we're so proud of. Like, it's not mentioned. If it's mentioned, it's not highlighted. So the admissions tutor, who luckily did not ask me if I knew what a strike was at 17, had already been teaching on short-term, part-time contracts for years, well into his late 50s, often sleeping in his office and rolling over in the mornings when a cleaner woke him up with a cheery, "Up late marking again, Bob?" It's just like, What was maybe an anomaly then, at one of the richest institutions in the country, is fast becoming the norm. Lecturers, support staff, librarians, cleaners, catering staff, staff in the counselling service. PhD students teaching seminars with a week's notice are increasingly asked to put up with way too much. But what does that mean for the education students get? Bob was among the only people who noticed when we didn't turn up and interpreted that as a support need rather than laziness, who knew how to teach in ways that made us feel safe and understood and valued. This wasn't valued by his institution then, which was shocked every time they tried to replace him and all the first years failed all their exams. And it isn't valued by our institutions now. And students can see that, we're not stupid. We know that surely some part of the work of education has to be about noticing the students themselves, how we're doing, why we're not there, what we might need. An extra 2 minutes of explanation, or an assessment for something, or a quick chat. And that's the problem. How can staff provide the kind of environment that students can learn in if you're exhausted beyond belief? How can you see the early signs of burnout or loneliness or misery in students if your institution requires you to ignore those signs in yourself? You can't. It's too hard. That's no good for you, and the students can see that it's no good for them either. We often hear students say staff working conditions are our learning conditions. Well, this is part of what that means. Like, we've lost more time to staff sickness and burnout than we ever have to strikes. And then there's the situation students are in. How can you provide a good learning environment to students who are working way too many hours to give learning the time and attention and energy that they want to? We are deep into an avoidable cost of living crisis manufactured by government policies which consistently target those with less to give them to those who already had more. NUS research found that 96% of students are cutting back. More than half of those are cutting back on essentials. We hear from those buying fewer period products, or choosing between heating and eating, or eating, heating and hormones, or eating, heating and paying the higher costs disabled people face just to survive. Even before this year, students were already workers in their millions. Those who aren't are at university training to become the workers of the very near future. The very best thing you can do as a worker for any other worker is stand up for your own rights to decent pay, decent conditions, a pension you can live on when you're unable to work. Stand up for disability justice, for anti-racism, for an end to sexism at work. An end to transphobia and homophobia. If you want students to have the kind of power in their workplaces that they deserve, to stand up for and demand the education they have a right to, we as PhD students and staff need to understand that our role as educators is much, much broader than lectures and seminars.
Yes!
Thank you. Students need to know that they should demand much more than being underpaid, overworked, discriminated against on uncertain contracts, left penniless in their old age. We can have boundaries with our bosses. We can say no when something is too much. Our health and happiness is more important. We can prioritise self-care and collective care. Staff in higher education can unionise and take action that will raise standards for workers across the board. That's the kind of education you owe your students in the end. They really can't get that anywhere else. Like, strikes can be a really weird time for students, but they're also a teaching opportunity. It's just too good to miss. It's too important. I'm kind of done with this, but lots of you already know Birkbeck is fighting sizable redundancies. I mean, obviously staff and students at loads of institutions right now are doing that, but they're also, unlike some institutions, right around the corner, and they're having a demo outside their Board of Governors meeting at 3 p.m, right after this. And they want to make sure their governors know what staff and students think of basically their plans to make these redundancies, and they'd love to see you and all of you around there on Mallet Street at 3 p.m.
Brilliant, now make some noise now, everyone. And give it up for every single student that stood on your picket lines this week and last week. We will not be divided. Our next speaker's an MP, another fantastic one. There's some of them out there, by the way. There's some of them all right. But she's brilliant. She's also a former national officer of the NUS. She also stands on every single picket line of every single dispute that's going on at the minute. She's the MP for Streatham. Please give a massive welcome to Beryl Beery already.
thank you so much. It's great to see so many of you here, and you all know why you're here. Because basically, they keep offering you crap. Yeah, that's right. So after 10 whole years, pays down by 25%, your pensions are being cut by 35%, and they're offering you the rubbish like they've offered you this year again of a 3% pay rise. That is not enough to keep up with inflation. It's not enough to keep up with the cost of living, and it's not enough to fund basic needs for yourselves and your families, and that's absolutely wrong. Now, in some countries, they revere the educators in their country, the university educators. They are amongst some of the most affluent in society. And we hear boasts around the world about how excellent our education system is, particularly our higher education system, but we still disrespect workers like you to the ninth degree, making sure that you have some of the most insecure contracts. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that is not a sector that appreciates you as educators, and that is fundamentally wrong. We need to change that. We cannot keep boasting about our education system around the world if we're going to treat our workers like this. And as you know, I'm a former officer of the National Union Students, and I'm proud that National Union Students are supporting you today. So don't let anybody tell you that you're being selfish. You love your jobs, which is why you put up with this crap for so many years. But ultimately, enough is enough. If you're going to be treated like this, the quality of education only goes down. Your workloads are increasing. Every time they cut something, you're being asked to do more with less, and that's wrong, and that's why you're out today. Now, I'm thinking about all of the other trade unions right across the country that have had their various struggles, and I think about the fact that they keep telling us that when you go out and strike, you're not necessarily going to win. There have been so many victories over the past couple of months, and I know that UCU can secure one for all of you as well. And you're not asking for anything controversial, a meaningful pay rise, and making sure that those insecure contracts are just wiped away and taking away those dangerously high workloads. And of course, I mean, you work this hard with the idea that when you retire, you're actually going to have something to live on. Did you know that in this country, we have the poorest pensioners in the whole of Europe? What does that say? And I'm determined that you and the rest of our public sector workers right across the country are not going to be one of them. So it's important that we continue to come together, we continue to stand up together, we continue to fight. And you know, if you have to strike, strike. Because there are those like me that will always be ready to stand on a picket line for you. There is enough money. There's absolutely enough money. We see that by how much the university sector is making every year, how much the vice chancellors are being paid every single year. If there's enough money for them, there is enough money for you. And you're not asking for anything more than you deserve. So solidarity, comrades.
Right, okay. 3 speakers left, 3 brilliant speakers. This guy, I have to say he's brilliant, he's my boss. I want to say he's brilliant because he is brilliant. We have 115,000 posties on strike today and tomorrow. And they are getting absolutely battered by the bosses. They're getting intimidated, they're getting threatened with dismissals, they're getting monitored on picket lines, they're getting pushed on social media, they're getting their mental health attacked, and the response from postal workers around the country is to make the picket lines bigger, the strike stronger. And we got a villain, the CEO of Royal Mail Group, a guy called Simon Thompson, completely... It's pantomime season, go on. Bigger, bigger, more booze. That's better. We've also got our union, like yours, and like all the unions that you're hearing from today. The stars of the show aren't the people that you're hearing from on the rostrum. The stars are actually the people on the ground, the members who are doing a stunning job. The unions have to be led, and ours is led by the General Secretary of the CWU. Please give him a massive, massive welcome to Dave Ward.
Hi everybody. Look, it's great to see so many of you here today, and I'm bringing solidarity on behalf of 115,000 postal workers who are literally fighting fighting for their jobs, their terms, their conditions, and the service that we provide to the public. Like you, it's about service, and that's what our members live and breathe. Let me say to you as well, solidarity to the nurses, to the care workers, to the Jacobs workers, to the railway workers. You're going to hear from Nick Lynch in a minute. We're fighting for our members, but always remember this. We're also fighting for every single worker in this country who is saying enough is enough. Are you saying enough's enough? You know, when the people, teachers, university workers, lecturers, when the people who really own the phrase, do you remember Tony Blair's phrase? Education, education, education. You guys know what that's all about. When the people whose passion inside here is to actually teach and provide an equality of opportunity for our children, our grandchildren, and the whole of society. When you're out on strike, well then we're entitled to ask, what the bloody hell is happening in this country? When the nurses who care for us, and I've felt that care, I've been there without their help, without the help of doctors, I wouldn't be here today like lots of other people. When you see the pressure, my own daughter, who's a midwife, going into work in the morning, telling me that sometimes she goes in crying because of the pressure that they're under. All she wants to do is the right thing for the people that she serves. When our railway workers, part of the key infrastructure of this country, and when our postal workers are providing a universal service, delivering to 32 million addresses day in, day out, when they're under the pressure that they're under, we're entitled to ask what the bloody hell is happening in this country. And I want to say something to you. There's a lot of you here who are a lot better educated than me. Can you help us out a little bit? Can you come with me the next time if we meet the CEO of Royal Mail, Simon Thompson, and can you explain to him that the word modernisation does not mean that you sack postal workers and bring in other workers on less pay, terms and conditions. When did they take ownership of that word, modernisation? At what point in history did it become a word when all it means to every single worker in this country is you work harder and faster for less? You get burnt out, you get left out. I was going to say you get shit on, but I won't. Look, what is going on here is so wrong. So wrong. It's heartbreaking to see some of our members who live and breathe the post office, Royal Mail, because of the job they do, decent job, decent terms and conditions. When they see other workers, we're not having a go at those workers, being hired, not to work alongside them, when they're being brought in to replace them. No union in the country, no worker in the country can accept those type of conditions. And look, the one thing I always talk about when the situation is like this, we know how bad it is, we know how many people are struggling. But you know, the real question that we have to keep asking is what are we going to do about it? Are you up for doing something about it? Are you up for fighting for your jobs, for all jobs in the country? So how are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? Well, I'll tell you this. We have to fight for our members in the disputes that we're involved in. But we've got a bigger job on top of that. We have got to bring collectivism back in this country. We've got to line up with the food bank organisations. We've got to line up with the renters associations. We've got to bring workers together in a movement that will change the balance of forces in this country. And the common denominator What every crisis ends up is that working people, working class people, people at the bottom always end up paying the price. No more. Do you agree enough's enough? Are you up? Are you up? Wherever these disputes finish, we're not finished. Because we're in a movement now. We're in a movement for change. And the fundamental problem that we face in this country, and people are waking up to it every single day of the week and realising now we've got to do something about it, is there is a structural imbalance of power and wealth, and it permeates the world of work, it permeates the economy in the way that it's rigged against us, and it is responsible for all of the growing inequalities that we're seeing day in, day out. We've got to do something about it. Enough's enough. Join that campaign. Join the campaign, enough's enough. Join with other trade unions. Join with other workers. Let's build collectivism. Let's drive change through. And let's own that word modernisation for working class people. Thanks very much.
Come on, Dave. Well, that reminds me, I've got some power in my bag. Well, a great speech from my General Secretary, Dave Ward. So we've got two more speakers, two brilliant speakers. Let's make a shout. Who is absolutely buzzing with the solidarity that's been shown by rail workers right around this country? Who wants to nominate as Person of the Year the RMT Twitter admin? Who's been absolutely buzzing at the sight of Mick Lynch handing the arse to every single journalist in the country? Yeah. And he buzzed off it when Mick took a well-earned day off, and then Eddie Dempsey handed them all their arse. Please give a massive, massive welcome to the General Secretary of the RMT, Mick Lynch.
Hello, how you doing? Hello, everybody. It's great to be here with you. All in this sea of pink in front of me. It almost matches the globe of pink on top of my head. So it's great to be with you. It's great to see education workers and others coming together and standing up for each other as well as themselves. Because it's clear now we're in a time where working people are ready for change. And it's also clear that the agents of that change are the organised working class. We cannot wait for somebody else to deliver for us. We cannot wait for policy makers, professional politicians, the people that have put us here in the first place to come and save us. We can't wait for lobbies to work. They say go down there and lobby the people who put you in the shit in the first place and see if they want to change their mind. That's not going to work. What's going to work is a wave of industrial action organised by the trade unions standing up for themselves. Everybody's asking me, why don't you just get affiliated to the Labour Party? Well, the question I ask people is, why are we shackled to the Labour Party? Because the question I want to ask all of you, where is the front bench? Where are they? When people are in struggle, the Labour Party should be with us here and now. And if you want to hide in the Palace of Westminster, being a neutral, our message is there are no neutrals in this struggle. The history of this time will ask the question, where were you in 22? Where were you in 23? Were you on the picket lines, or were you triangulating to get yourself into power and not deliver for people? And we need change. We need to get rid of outsourcing. We need to bring back final salary pensions. We need proper terms and conditions. And we need a massive pay rise for every worker in this country. And we are going to deliver it. We are going to deliver it through continuous campaigns. We're in a phase of campaigning now, but we can't say it stops as soon as one dispute's over. We have got to stand up as an organised trade union movement on our own, putting our flag in every community around the country, saying to the unorganised, we are here to help you. Saying to the people who have lost their identity and are voting for the far right and the fascists, that's not the place for working people. The place for working people is in the working class movement. And the message is, we refuse to be divided. We refuse to be divided, one worker against another, one section against another, one religion against another, one race against another. We are the people, and we are going to fight back through our structures and through our movement. And this rally is part of reclaiming our movement for militant trade union organisations that's going to fight and fight until we win. So my message is solidarity to the posties, solidarity to the UCU, solidarity to all of our educators, health workers, private sector, every worker in one movement, telling every politician, we are here to stay, the organised working class, and we are going to win for our people. Solidarity to all workers, onwards to victory. Thank you very much.
Come on. Right, our final speaker is someone we'll introduce. We were reading 6-7 months ago, university vice chancellors mocking the union, saying there weren't many people on picket lines, saying that winning the national ballot was completely impossible, saying that you couldn't deliver on the ground, saying that you couldn't mobilise. And here our union has done a phenomenal job, led by the members on the ground, led by the branches. But every union, as I said about Dave early on, has to have a general secretary. And this person's led a campaign where you have won a national ballot, the first in the education sector. You have delivered the biggest picket lines in the history of the union. And today, you deliver the biggest hat rally in the history of the union. And the message to the bosses of universities is we are only just getting started. Because disputes are about winning, are about changing things. And all of you are going to change the education sector forever. Introducing your General Secretary, Dr. Joe Grady.
Look around you, look to your left, look to your right. Everyone around you right now are the people who are going to go an extra inch with you. Everybody around you right now has your back. Everyone around you right now are the people who are going to cross the winning line with you in this dispute. Today is a historic day. It's the largest demo we've ever had. Someone's even made it on top of a phone box or whatever it is over here. Be careful, we haven't risk assessed that. Whether you're listening online or you're right in front of me right now in King's Cross, you are part of this. University bosses, they thought something like this was not possible. They thought after years of attacks on our pay, our pensions, our working conditions, our colleagues, and during the pandemic, our students, they thought we wouldn't have the strength to fight back. They thought we were too overwhelmed, too weak. Do you have a message for them? Our union is stronger than it has ever been. And that is because we have united like never before. And I want to give a massive shout out today to our students. We know that we face a lot of pressure, but our students get pressured by the media, pressured by politicians,
pressured by the same university bosses that make our life hell, and yet they still stand with us. They know their learning conditions are your working conditions. We know in this union that taking action is never easy, but the last 3 days you have shown that you trust and will stand with your union, and I want to praise you all for it. It's no surprise that our employers are threatening strike pay deductions just for taking part in action short of a strike. And it's panto season, so let's get a big boo. What they want is to intimidate you into silence, to intimidate this union into inaction, and to make it impossible for workers to defend themselves and each other's. Let's get another boo. And we are not having it. Mick, Dave, the other speakers, they've said this already. The next few months, they know what it's like to be in a dispute. We are going to face more threats, more intimidation, and our employer is going to take control of the pace of this dispute. But let me tell you who controls the pace of this dispute. It is you! Yes! You! Let me tell you who will stand up to their threats. Let me tell you who will win this dispute. We won this ballot together, we've delivered historic action together, and we are going to win this dispute together. We are not going to take a single step that splits this union. We have 70,000 members at the starting line, and we are going to have 70,000 members at that victory line. During the last dispute, some of you will know our employers ignored us. On pay and pensions, they are back in the room, and this is because of your action, and I am proud of you all. On pay, they are currently negotiating with us right now after consulting with employers about going forward to make an enhanced offer. Your action made this meeting happen, and we're going to have to be pushing them even further. Yeah, that's right. On pensions, we already have employers agreeing with us that the cuts could be revoked. We have a pension scheme admitting what we knew all along, that the money is there and the cuts didn't need to happen. Again, later this week, we have our employers with us in the room discussing what a deal could look like. But friends, we can take nothing for granted. We cannot see the next few weeks, and I know you're not going to be, but we cannot see the next few weeks as a break from this dispute. We must keep the pressure on. Inch by inch, conversation by conversation, meeting by meeting. We do not stop until we win. And in 2023, we go again. In 2022, we won the ballot. In 2023, we are going to win this dispute. So, everyone, let me ask you a question, and I want you to know already, the answer is yes, okay? It's a really easy exam. Are you willing to do what is ever necessary to win this dispute? I'm sorry, I asked you a question and you weren't loud enough. I said, are you willing to do whatever is necessary to win this dispute? Thank you. Right. Oh, thank you. I love you too. Right, let's go, everyone. Right, back in the room. I'll finish for a moment talking about this moment that we're in right now, but also the people that we face. I know sometimes working in higher education can feel like an impossible task. Our bosses, they have the money, they often have politicians on their side, they have the establishment, you know, they have the complicitness of the media, but what they don't have, what money cannot buy, what comes from inside, what is all around us right now, is what every single one of you I know feels. Is solidarity, is pride, is collectivism, and it is hope. And let that hope sink in, everyone. Drip that hope in. I know people say that it's the hope that kills you, and as a lifelong Sheffield Wednesday fan, I attest to that. But hope is beautiful. Hope is powerful. Let the hope for a better future, hope for a victory, and hope for change. Is the year we are going to turn that hope into reality. And let's finish, if there was anyone asleep in King's Cross, let's finish by waking them up. Got another little bit of participation for you, okay? I'm going to say union, and you're going to say power. You ready? Union! Power! Union! Power! Union! Power! Solidarity forever. I am beyond proud to be your General Secretary.
Joe, everybody! Okay. We've got one more thing. Firstly, say thank you to everyone for coming. Phenomenal turnout. We've got people here from all over the UK. It's a hell of a turnout, a hell of a message that you've all sent. So well done, but big round of applause for you, for all your efforts coming then. And you've shown your democracy by putting those letters in the post box, and CW members, thank you very much for that. You've shown your democracy by voting in that ballot. You've shown your democracy by walking out the door. You've shown your democracy by attending picket lines. You've shown your democracy by being here today. But if it's still in question, let's have one more vote for all of you here today. If you are prepared to do whatever it takes in this dispute, raise your hand right now. If you are prepared to do whatever it takes to support every striking worker in this country, raise your hand right now. And let's finish with a chant for your union. UCU, 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 UCU. Come on now then. UCU. More, Joe, go on to video. UCU, UCU. Well done everybody, fantastic. Come on. And the final closing message here. Do you want to say something? You're telling me off here. The final closing message here for us is to say that today is obviously the last formal strike action day, all-out strike action day of the year, but the dispute does not stop here, yeah? Every single day. If they go to bed at 11 o'clock, we go to bed at 11:01. If they wake up 6 a.m, we wake up at 5:15, 9 a.m. Right, we do not let them have 1 second's rest until we beat them. Are you up for that? Safe journey home, everyone. Take care of yourselves. UCU, UCU, UCU. UCU, 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 UCU.